We're now joined by Steve Swetsky, Executive Director, New Jersey Education Association. Steve, thanks for joining us.
I'm glad to be here.
You know, I'll tell you what, it is always great when we're physically down in Atlantic City in the convention center right there on the floor. But this year, we're not able to do that. But it was a hybrid, some in person, some virtual. For you, what has been most exciting about, and not to mention challenging about this convention?
Well, the exciting part was actually being in person again with our members and our staff. For many of them, it was the first time that they were actually together in person for 18 months. So that part was exciting. And a second part to that was the ability to also interact with our members across the state through the virtual pieces that we put together. So we took what we learned last year in a completely virtual environment, and this year we put together a program that was both in person and virtual.
Steve, let me ask you something. One of the things that's come out of this, and you and I have talked about this a lot, is the whole question of social equity, justice, right? The inequities that exist and have been exacerbated, if you will, by this pandemic. The Office of Human and Civil Rights, Equity and Governance, what is it and how is it connected to what went on in Atlantic City?
Yeah, so that's a recently created office at NJEA. And the reason we did that was we wanted to be able to both look internally within our organization around the issues of human and civil rights, equity, and our governance structures, as well as externally with our members and the public. And so that's become a place where it's kind of an umbrella for all of the work that we do as an organization. But you know what they say about organizations, show me your budget and we'll show you your priorities. That's really, what we put together here was an investment in, those issues, human civil rights, equity, social justice issues. As you point out, throughout the pandemic, those issues have become, they've been brought to light in ways that never were before. And so NJEA, we were a little ahead of the curve. We created that office prior to the pandemic, but it's a testament to the focus of our work around public education.
Steve, you joined us recently with Sean Spiller, your president, and we talked about some of these issues, but that was before the November 2nd election, the historic election. A lot went on there. Let me ask you something. From your perspective, from the organization's perspective, and again, I disclose this all the time, NJEA, big supporter of public broadcasting, supporter of what we do. A second Murphy administration with a legislature with a different makeup, right? Different makeup, maybe potentially different mood, I don't know. We'll look at that, particularly on State of Affairs, our public affairs program. Highest priority for your organization, particularly as it relates to the children in our public schools? In the second Murphy administration?
Yeah, I would say absolutely looking ahead to what does post-pandemic education in New Jersey look like? How can we, not let that rubber band snap back and just, snap us back to where we were pre-pandemic? An awful lot was learned around education, around possibilities, around how we interact with students, with parents, with caregivers. It's a real opportunity to look forward relative to public education and see what the opportunities are, and utilizing the funding that's available from the federal government through the ARP funding. There's a real opportunity here to look at facilities.
American Rescue Plan.
Yes.
I'm sorry, the real opportunity, I interrupted you. I'm sorry, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, there's a real opportunity here with that additional funding, which is here now and will be here for up to 3 years, for districts to really look at what they're doing, what they learned, and how they can move forward from the pandemic, back into what we would call a more normal school scenario.
I'm going to get an update on this. The pandemic, vaccines, testing will continue to be a part of this, the science, but also people's attitudes. Have you seen any significant shift? First of all, what percentage, if you know this, Steve, of public school educators are vaccinated, number one? And number two, are you seeing any shift as more and more people are vaccinated and the results of that have been pretty positive? That's not editorializing, that's just a scientific fact.
Yeah, so upwards of 90 to 95% of our members are vaccinated. And so that's had a huge impact in terms of safety, in terms of the ability for schools to be back in person. If you look around the country compared to New Jersey right now, while there's hotspots that pop up here and there, we're certainly doing as well or better than any other place in the country. The availability of the vaccines now for school-age children, all the way down into the elementary levels, will make a huge difference. And moving away from kind of the restrictions that have been in place for safety reasons will allow us to get back to again more of a normal kind of a school experience for both our educators that are in the classrooms and who work with the kids, as well as the kids themselves.
I need to say this every time we talk about anything related to the pandemic, which is everything. We're taping at the end of 2021. This will be seen later. Steve Swetsky is talking on the 15th of November, the 15th of December, the 15th of January. Steve Swetsky is not making a prediction, nor am I. That's irresponsible. Just want to clarify that, Steve.
No, it's November 15th. We'll see what happens in December and January. But I think that your question was about a second Murphy administration,
Right.
And great things have happened in the first Murphy administration relative to schools, public schools, and we look forward to continuing our partnership with the administration and the Department of Education as we look forward to what's next and how we can move New Jersey forward.
Hey, before I let you go, Steve, real quick, give me a minute or less on the New Jersey Public School Labor Management Collaborative. What is it? Because I know it was featured in Atlantic City. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's a program that we're partnered with along with all our statewide partners in School Boards Association, Superintendents Association, Principals and Supervisors, Rutgers University, and the National Education Association. And all of those groups, we've been working together on this project for about 7 years now, where we bring together school districts on both sides of the table, labor on one side, management on the other, and work with them to help train and develop good labor management collaborative processes in those districts. The research out of Rutgers University by Dr. Saul Rubenstein shows that in places with high levels of collaboration between labor and management, students do better, teacher turnover is less, it just provides for a better work environment, and just really good things happen in those districts when they learn and implement and utilize those practices.
Hey, Steve, thanks for joining us. We look forward next year, no predictions, being on the convention floor and interviewing people in person. Thanks,
Sounds
Steve.
good. Yep, look forward to seeing you there. Thanks, Steve.
Think Tank with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by MD Advantage Insurance Company, NJ Best, New Jersey's 529 College Savings Plan, the Turrell Fund, supporting Reimagine Childcare, Johnson & Johnson, Valley Bank, Delta Dental of New Jersey, Suez North America, the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities Clean Energy Program, and by the Adler Aphasia Center. Promotional support provided by Insider NJ and by New Jersey Globe.
What is your child's dream for the future? Doctor? Teacher? Architect? Whatever they aspire to be, a college education may realize those dreams. And NJ Best can help. It's the college savings plan specifically designed for New Jersey families. Start saving today with as little as $25, because now is the time to invest in their future. To learn about NJ Best 529 College Savings Plan, its investment objectives, risks, and costs, read the Investor Handbook available at njbest.com.